Hi, it's Johara. Welcome back to my channel, to the Witchy Reader. So, I'm going to be talking about spooky slash horror slash witchy types of book recommendations. Not all of these I have the physical book. And I'll explain why during the video when I get to it. But so I'm not gonna. I read almost only fantasy, so I'm not gonna talk about like every fantasy book because all of them could be in the spooky season. But things just that are very heavily either spooky, witchy, or horror, um, will be included. That I can think of at least for now. I might do a part 2 of these. If you guys want that, let me know. But first, I'm gonna go with Charmed. It's not as good as the TV show, but I've read the first 11 and I almost all but one, and I think there's like 41 or 42 books. And the first 10 have Prue in them, and then the rest have Paige because if you watch the show, you know that Prue dies at the end of season 3, so you know that when these, kind of figure out when these take place. This is the third book. The first book, um, the first book in the series, though, is just like the first episode mostly to introduce you in case you never watched the TV show. And then the first episode, then book 11 is the same as the first episode of season 4, so that you can understand Paige's introduction. Um, so yeah, but the rest weren't actual episodes. They're just extra things if you're a fan of Charmed, and they're very witchy. Obviously, they are the charmed ones, 3 witches who have to save innocents and defeat demons, and they are the most powerful witches. And they all have individual powers, but they're most powerful when they're together. And the most powerful demons need all 3 of them to defeat them. But the lower level demons can be defeated by 1 or 2 of them if for whatever reason they're not all there. It just depends on the type of demon, because there are demons that are just lower level, then there's upper level, and it just depends on the demon. Also, there's Final Girls. I have no idea where my physical copy is. I had a fire like a year ago, and I may have lost in the fire. I just don't realize. But my books are also all kind of in a mess, so it could be somewhere in my books, just buried underneath. But basically, it's about like the main character was in this whole situation where she was the final girl of the situation, and she survived the killer, and there were like at least I think 2 others that were similar to her, and but then somebody started killing off final girls, so she finds herself in trouble again, even though she finally got her life back from that experience of losing people she knew and cared about and barely surviving as it is. And now she's in that situation again, along with other final girls who were in similar situations. Um, yeah, definitely. I just love that concept. Like someone specifically going after final girls. That's just an amazing concept. Um, this is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I haven't read it yet. But I plan to buddy read it soon-ish. With someone. Once she can get the copy. Um, and but I'm very intrigued by it. It's a trilogy. I only own copy 1 though, but basically what was it, 5 years ago, um there was this tragedy, the first tragedy in this town, I guess. Pretty and popular high school senior Andy Bell was murdered by her boyfriend Sal Singh, who then killed himself. It was all anyone could talk about, and 5 years later, Pip sees how the tragedy still haunts her town. Now senior herself, Pip decides to re-examine the closed case for her final project, at first just to cast doubts on the original investigation, but soon she discovers a trail of dark secrets that might actually prove Sal innocent, and the line between past and present begins to blur. Someone in Fairview doesn't want Pip digging around for answers, and now her own life might be in danger. So it definitely sounds very good and spooky. Sounds like there's a killer on the loose that was never caught, and she's the only one that realizes it, and now she must stop it. So it definitely sounds highly intriguing, and I cannot wait to finally read it once I can. And then I also have this trilogy. This is book 1. It's called the Skinjacker trilogy. Book 1 is Everlost. Book 2 is Everwild. Book 3 is Everfound. I love this trilogy. Definitely one of my favorites. Highly, highly recommend it. I've reread it multiple times. It's such a great, great trilogy. Basically, in the very first chapter, the 2 main characters, their names just slipped my mind. I never forget their names. Why did I forget their names? Nick and Allie. Nick and Allie died in a car crash. They were in separate cars. They do not know each other, but the cars crashed into each other and they die. That's literally the very first chapter. Some opening like that hooked me right away, and it would hook anyone right away. And then they find themselves in this. I guess it's like a purgatory. Um, they're in the real world, but nobody can see them, and it's all kind of grayed. And um, there's some really cool concepts. Like I love like how e- these spirits that walk among us, like they can't just freely roam the world. There are what they call dead spots. Like let's say a house burned down or a forest was caught on fire. Those even if they get rebuilt and it's years and years after the tragedy and it doesn't even look like a tragedy anymore, it's considered a dead spot. Something traumatic and a tragedy happened here, so they can walk that area. But if they're just walking down the street and nothing bad happened, nothing like that, then they will sink to the bottom of the earth. So they have to be very careful where they go. Um, but they end up meeting Mary Hightower, who I despise. She's one of my most hated book characters I have ever read. She's almost up there with Umbridge herself from Harry Potter, and everybody know, and any Harry Potter fan knows how awful she is. Like I despise Mary Hightower so much. Um, but Nick is um attracted to her from the get go, but Allie doesn't trust her, and Allie is always right. She's kind of be a little um of a bad word, but um she does have a good heart, and she uh does always end up being right, which is kind of annoying for other people, but she always is right. Trust her instincts. But Mary, what's why I hate Mary is that she's so fake. Like she pretends to be this great savior. She made this. I If I remember correctly, it has been how many since I've reread this series. But if I remember correctly, the area that she presides with all of her children, they're not actually her children, just children that have died that she takes in as her own. Um um their little area is the 7-Eleven area, the Twin Towers. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly. Like I said, it's been a minute since I actually read this book. But um there's this huge area where the kids can just be, but she was keeping them from moving on to the afterlife without even giving them an option. None of them realized it. Like she's just a mass manipulator. She manipulates everyone she meets. And the reason why she hated Allie so much is because she's the only person that she wasn't able to manipulate, like ever. Nick does end up going against her when he realizes what she's been doing. Um, and their rivalry was interesting because even though like everybody is always entranced by Mary because she's so beautiful, this and that, Nick was the first person to be entranced by her, but he still did what was right even though he had feelings for her. And she, even though all these guys are entranced by her, all these guys want her, the only person she ever actually had real feelings for was Nick, which made this so much harder for her. Which good, I don't like her, so make things harder for her. But there's also kind of a Beauty and the Beast side storyline with Allie when she gets kidnapped by the McGill, which is this terrible beast. Um, but they kind of have this Beauty and the Beast thing where she starts to see and bring out a better side of him, and they have an interesting dynamic, and I really like them together. Um, and I loved Allie and Nick's friendship and how they were separated for a while, but they did everything they could to find each other again. There's also this thing with skinjackers, which is what Allie is. I'm not skinjackers. Basically they're not actually dead. They Skinjackers are in comas basically, and skinjackers are the rare ghosts that can um possess people, which is why they can't possess people because they're not fully dead. So they have this connection to the living because they aren't fully dead like everybody else. But yeah, this is an amazing trilogy. Highly recommend. And the last series I'll be talking about, I do not have because I don't own the physical copies. I've read them through our copies that the author gave me, which is the Mantis Clan series. Highly recommend. It's a horror series and it can get pretty gruesome. There is some cannibalism and stuff, so just want to warn you because it gets gruesome from the very first chapter. So if that's not your type, then you can't handle that. The blood, the smashing of heads, the eating of people, don't read. But it is amazing. Characters, a found family, like this group find each other, and there's an amazing, beautiful found family. And the way they love each other and protect each other and come together when they were all basically disowned from their lives and their families and they came and formed a family. It's just amazing. Um, and uh, in the first book, Agrel was from this cult of people who hate. Um, uh, so basically, there's people with superpowers, okay? And some people are there to protect them, some people hate them. The cult hates them and think they are an abomination and wants to kill them. And there's also people who wants to kill them and eat part of their brain because they have this mantis gland in their brain that they're born with, which is what gives them the superpowers. So, and then they can steal the powers if they eat it. It's this whole thing. um, and she ends up meeting Dozy, who is not a superpower, who does not have superpowers. But Dozy is very protective of Agrel first. But Agrel actually ran away from a cult when she realized what they were actually doing. And they meet Elia, who does have superpowers. They're called shifts, and then they end up even meeting a biological shift, which are shifts where they have superpowers, but the powers transform their body so they don't even look human anymore. Like Agrel looks kind of like a lizard. Not Agrel, sorry, Lahari. Lahari looks kind of like a lizard. Um, and so yeah, it's this whole thing. And I was kind of shipping Agrel and Lahari, like I saw something there. Um, but maybe that's just me. but um, I love the family. Like there's the Mystic and his husband who are Lahari's fathers, and um, it's really sad because a lot of these are the characters you met in book one, but each book you meet a few new people who become part of this family. And a lot of these people, it's sad because they get disowned by their family when they find out about them. There are a few like the characters from the fourth book, which aren't isn't actually out yet. I better read it, so I gotta read it earlier before it came out. It's coming out soon though, I think. Actually, no, I think it came out today. Actually, I think might have come out today. So I think it's out now. But and um, that's what I was saying. but uh, this one shift's mom truly loved her child or children. It's kind of a complicated situation in book four, but um, and would do and die protecting them. So we do get parents like that, and then there's obviously the Mystic and his husband who did not care that Lahari was a bioshift, contrary to Lahari's mother, which you do find out about later on. Um, so it, but these the Mystic and his husband, along with Auntie Peg, there's a lot of drag queens, and drag queens are the heroes. They save the world, so yay. Um, and they are awesome characters. Auntie Peg, who is amazing. Um, and her partner have this kind of and the Mystic and his husband have this kind of group where they're trying to protect shifts and bioshifts from people that would want to kill them, whether because they think they're abominations or because they want to steal their powers. And they will do anything to protect them. Um, and I know that this group, this found family, had kind of joined in and was trying to do that as well. And yeah, so I definitely highly recommend it. A lot of murder, so beware. A lot of sweet moments too between this found family. Um, and it's just amazing. And I highly recommend this amazing series. But thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and comment if you read any of these, if you want to read any of these, your own spooky recommendations, and let me know if you want a part two. Maybe I'll do that someday. Until next time.